We are being recorded. Okay. All right.
Because every time she starts it, it's like, you're being recorded. I have to press okay. It's like, oh, I know.
So, all right. When we get started here, I'm Ann Jansen. As Jess said, I'm the State Horse Bowl Chair. And I have been the State Horse Bowl Chair for 23 years now. This is my 23rd year. So I've been doing this a long time. Anyway, how many of you that are on are new to Horse Bowl? Can you just, raise hands or just put it in the chat that,
I am new to horse bowl, and we were gonna go, but it was my dad's birthday, so.
okay. So,
we have a bunch, Anne, in the chat box, 4 or
perfect.
5 that are new to Horse Bowl.
Okay. So we will just go over general stuff first, and then I'm going to turn it over to first Lauren and then Jake. So they can give you a little bio of their Horse Bowl experience, and actually, Lauren, when you got started, because that's just a miracle in itself that you got as far as you did first year. So, all that great stuff to encourage everybody that's on. So first, to start off, Horse Bowl is like a quiz team, like a Jeopardy type of thing. It's split up into 2 different levels. You've got your one-on-one questions, and then you got your open questions. The one-on-one questions are for you've got 4 people on your team, and each team has 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got your first chair, second chair, third chair, fourth chair, and those one-on-one questions are specifically the first chairs compete, answer question, the second chairs, third chairs, fourth chairs. So it's really you're only competing against one other person for the first 12 questions. And then in the open questions, anybody can buzz in. You have what's called toss-ups, which are a little more difficult and probably have 2 answers to them because there's a bonus attached to it. And if you get that bonus question for your team, well, you got a chance for 3 points for your team, and it's a team play at that time. All of you pitch in to give an answer, and that way you got 3 points. Makes or breaks the team's a win or a loss sometimes. There's a moderator that asks all the questions, and there's a timer. You have to start your answer within 5 seconds after the question is read. And there's, timing, there's a lot to it. But if you know that you've got to start your answer right away, there's usually not a problem. Other than that, and we have 2 judges that sit on a panel. One is a horse-related judge, and one is a vet-related judge. Those judges are either veterinarians or have a lot of vet tech experience. One of my judges at States is Dr. Day from Morrisville College. He has been on this panel for many years. He used to be their basic horsemanship judge class teacher, and he also did all the breeding technology, the technical breeding stuff for the college in those classes, the upper level classes. So he's kind of a vet. He's just an educational veterinarian in that sense. And scorekeepers, one that's on the board and one that does paper score that comes to the score room. And you'll always find Jessica and I in the score room, making sure everything goes smoothly. Other than that, that's the quick run around, quick synopsis of what horse bowl is, versus hippology, which is more ID, which is more of a self-test, really. You do a team problem, but it's hippology is more of a self-test. This is truly a team sport. You guys have to have a camaraderie between you and know who's better at answering whatever questions so that you work as a team to do the best that you can. Divisions. You have at the regional level, you have your novice and your junior and your senior. And then they send on to states just juniors and seniors. The novice, you get to practice, and become really awesome juniors and really awesome seniors that go with me to nationals. Top 4 seniors at the state event go on to nationals in Louisville in the fall. And other than that, that's a quick synopsis of what horse bowl is. Lauren, I want you and Jake to give a testimony, time, your experiences, how you started studying and all that, and then we'll talk about the resources and things like that. Go for it, Lauren.
All right, so I'm Lauren, and I've been doing 4-H since I was 9, but I didn't start horse 4-H until last year. Sorry, no, the year before last year. I have to remember it's 2025. But so I first started 4-H doing rabbits. Then I kind of fell out of 4-H during that time, and then I remember going to our county fair, and I saw there was a pamphlet for the horse program. And I was like, oh, this sounds cool. I think I'll check this out. And I really liked it. And I searched up the source books online. And so I bought those. And we went to horse bowl practices weekly. And like by chance, my coach mentioned, she's like, yeah, there's also, they have states and then they have nationals. I was like, oh, nationals sounds cool. I never thought I would really get there. It still kind of surprises me, but yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'll study for that, and yeah, it was a long road. It was a long trip, and so the source books really helped me, and also my coach had brought together like all these horsebow questions that she had encountered from over the years, and she had like so many packets of them. So I would just read through those over and over again. It was that I read in the source books, and what else? Yeah, I just would read those over and over again because I had to get it in my head. And then I figured out eventually that there were some questions that you could kind of predict in a way. Not predict, but like, sorry. There's a reason I didn't go to nationals for public speaking. Yeah. So that's just long story short of how I got here.
Yeah, Lauren had only been in horse 4-H for 1 year, and then she was on the bus for nationals. She studied hard. She knew the resources, and I will get to the resources after Jake talks. So I will explain those resources to everybody. We had, when Jessica went down to their regional event, she called me from there and says, you look out for those girls. They're going to be on your bus. And didn't think they would be on the bus the first year, but they were. Lauren, you worked hard, and you did it. And as your sister would say, you found your people. We really have a lot of fun, and it becomes a really tight-knit group between all of us and Heather. Man, I wouldn't do it without Heather at all. So she is out tonight because she is ill, but Heather Witten is my go-to person. She is my right-hand man. She is my co-chair. She's not an assistant coach. She's a co-chair. And she, after I put the state event together so she can study with you guys, you just reach out to her if you have questions, and that's the person you contact, because that way she has no idea what's on the state questions and she can help you guys out in any way, and she has no idea what I do until up to the state event. And then after the state event, she helps everybody in 4-H, whether it's judging and hippology and horse bowl and anybody that's going to be on that national team. She helps get everybody ready. Her and I take a group out to Quarter Horse Congress before the national 4-H, and that's just our great practice to get a run in before our nationals. And Lauren was on a reserve national team this past year with Zeke and Charlotte and her sister Samantha. So it was a great job. They did an awesome job. Lauren, which place did you come in individually?
I got 6th.
Sixth place, yeah. So they did an amazing job. They were just amazing. And kudos to Lauren for working hard and how she studied, and we'll go over those resources. Hey, Jake, how about you?
So hello, everybody. My name's Jake. A fun fact about me is that I have a horse whose name is also Jake, but I bought him from my friend, so it was just a coincidence. But through my time in 4-H, I've shown horses, cows, sheep, dogs, whatnot. But I started 4-H when I was 7, and you know, we're not all awesome like Lauren, but that's I started off with,
You are.
I started off with horse 4-H, but it was a long winding road to get to nationals, because I started off in a small club, only about a few kids, and we'd always have our meetings, and we'd go through the, you know, studying horse bowl and everything. And at that point, yeah, I didn't take it very seriously. I would just go to the events and then buzz in, because I was only a junior. And then I'd bring, I had like Lauren said, where the club leader gave me a big packet of a bunch of past questions, and yeah, I had them all in a big binder, and then I would bring it into school, and you know, between classes, just flip through some and read a few answers. And yeah, it's fun because you get to just quiz yourself, and also it helped growing up with siblings and family members that, you know, can ask you some horsebowl questions. And I have a younger brother and sister who are both doing horsebowl, so it helped when you're able to quiz them, and then they quiz you, and then, you know, you both get a benefit out of it. But yeah, I did that up until the year 2020, when it was my first year in the senior division, and I was super happy because, you know, my team had won the county division. We're going to go on to regionals, and then I remember, like a few days before the regional competition, there was the whole you know, notification that it was canceled due to COVID. So I was really bummed out for that year. And the next year too, there was still the state competition. There was just no national competition. So I worked my way up at states. I think I got like 7th at states that year, so I wouldn't have qualified for nationals anyway. I was just on the cusp there. And you know, even before in juniors, you know, I never made the top 10 until 2021. I went to states, I think, 3 times as a junior, and not once was I top 10 or on a first place team. So I you know, been, you know, keep going at this the horse bowl for quite some years, and then everything just kind of clicked one day. And you know, after in 2022, It was the year I went to nationals. All throughout for the past few years since before 2022, I started writing down the answers to all the questions I got wrong. So I'd quiz myself in my head, and then I'd be like, "Hey, I don't know this," and I wrote it down, and I have a bunch of little notebooks that I keep that it has all the horseball questions I get wrong, and then it helped too drawing pictures next to them just so I can keep it in my head, remember this for next time. Because in theory, if you memorize each question, then you have a pretty good chance at the competition. So that's what I had done for a few years, and then in 2022 I got to states, and that year, one of my good friends, I was facing her team. Her name's Peyton, and we had to go through three tiebreakers, I think, for the first place individual at state. But I was very fortunate. I went with three of my closest friends today. We were in touch, even though we're all over the place for schooling. But I made some of my closest friends that way going to nationals. We ended up getting reserve national champions, like New York State got last year. We went on to a tiebreaker round with North Carolina. So at nationals, North Carolina is one of the biggest programs there. So they have a lot of really good teams that we have to face, and they beat us in one of the earlier rounds, and then we came back for the champion round and we beat them. So that went on to a tiebreaker round, which actually broke the computer system at nationals because they the day after. So how nationals work is you compete the first day, and then the day after you get the awards, and then we're all waiting for our names to be called for individual placements because we were the top two teams, and then not a single person from North Carolina or New York State was called. So we just went up, afterwards. We just say like, "Hey, isn't it a little suspicious that the no one from the top two teams placed individually?" And it turns out that because of the tiebreaker round, the computer system couldn't take the fact that we had gone onto that round, and it like did something weird with all our scores, so that they weren't in the top 10. So it just shows how much how much talent there was on both of those teams that confused the computer system. But after that, I loved going to nationals so much. It was super fun. You get to go to like the horse capital of the country. So yeah, we got to go to the Kentucky Horse Park, which is basically like the Disney World for horses. That was really fun, and you get to tour a lot of facilities. So it's very interesting for anybody in the horse industry. And I ended up going back for horse judging the year after, and then hippology last year. And all those competitions each time, it was just I had so much fun, and a lot of the time studying for horseball and the other equine competitions, I find has been very useful. Right now, I'm a freshman in college, and a lot of the classes, a lot of the material that we're covering is stuff that we learned in horseball. So it just public presentations, horseball, hippology, all this stuff gives you like an upper edge in school, definitely, because it overlaps with a lot of the content that you're learning. And especially I'm majoring in pre-veterinary medicine, so it's a lot of the content that you're learning right now is very useful for your future.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it. And Jake was reserve individual that year, right? Lost him.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I was nodding. I don't know if you could see my.
Yeah, Jake was reserve individual that year, and Peyton had won top individual that year. It was a phenomenal team, phenomenal competition. And the Horse Bowl people are very, very good friends with the North Carolina people now, and we get along great and talk all the time. And it's good. It's so cool to meet other kids and coaches from all over the country, and it's like old reunion week when we get together at nationals. All right, so we are going to references and how to get started and what do you do? There's lots out there. Now, in the front of the rule book, which is online through Cornell, through 4-H Horse, and Jessica, can we have a link to that rule book so the kids can read the rules? That would probably be a good thing. And that way you will know in there, right in the front of the Horse Bowl section and the hippology section, that we use the same resources, are listed all the resources. Every county has a copy of these resources. So if you have not seen these resources anywhere, why, make sure that you just go see your county educator and see where the resources are and if you can borrow them or read them in the office. There's some of the books that are not expensive. The little dictionary book, I think that's Jake's favorite book, is that little dictionary. And
Yeah.
and that book is not an expensive book. It's probably $20, and it's all equine terms of every sort. You have old rodeo terms, old roping and cowboys and cutting and all those terms that you don't see anywhere else. And sometimes they show up on Horse Bowl. You just never know. And sometimes it's just a simpler definition of what you were reading in Horse Smarts or the Horse Industry Handbook. Look it up in that little dictionary and say, I get it now. Sometimes it's just a little simpler. It's put a little simpler way. There are questions out there for every single term in the dictionary. I forget who put it out. If you Google it, equine terms questions, I think Purdue University put it out a long time ago. But questions are questions, so you can have it that way. And there's lots of questions online. The only thing I say to safeguard if you start Googling Horse Bowl, 4-H Horse Bowl questions, is that not all of them are up to date in resources. There are some resources that states and nationals does not use anymore. They're still decent resources, but sometimes they conflict. So it's always the newer resources that is correct. There is a new resource in the third edition of the Horse, or the second edition of the Horse is called, and that and Horse Smarts are about the same age-wise. So we have those two resources, and that's a lot of where the information comes from, are those two resources. So if you can't get your hands on anything else, try to read. If you are serious about State Horse Bowl and going on to nationals, read the resources. Write down the questions, write down the information that you don't remember well, so you can go back to it. That's the way a lot of kids do well, is that they know their resources. And all the questions are out of those resources and not anything else. So if you know the resources, you know the answer. I know when my daughter Laura did Horse Bowl, she read the horse 3 times. And back then that was the main resource. Horse Smarts didn't exist back then. And we have the only thing other than with Horse Bowl is when you get close to competition time, make sure that you are hearing questions out loud. Have somebody read you questions where you have to answer them. It's different if you're reading them and answering them versus hearing them and answering them. So if you have somebody to practice with them. That is another way. Novice questions, we still use Jeannie Griffith's book. It's a small green book. I forgot the name of it. Equine Science by Jeannie Griffiths, who was the state educator way, way, way back when, before Jessica's time. And when I first started as a horsebow coach, Jeannie was the state person that Brianna is now. She wrote a simple novice beginning junior level book. And that is still available too. And that is not an expensive book either. So if you have novice, perfect. That is a very good book to start with. That and Horse Smarts. Start with those. In every chapter of Horse Smarts, there's questions in the back. You have your beginner and your intermediate and your advanced sections. Do them, practice them. It all helps in the studying. And that's the other thing. During practices, have special speakers come in, a nutritionist to go over feeds and feedstuffs and what's in feeds and what's good hay, what's bad hay, all those. Have it be a hands-on thing. Sometimes it's easier for those kind of things if you're hands-on. Other than that, have a plan. Have a plan of what you are going to come up with next, what you're going to study next. Every week, pick a different subject. And some of those subjects you're going to know more, and it'll be easier than other subjects. So, those difficult subjects, go back. Bones, go back and study them. All the systems of the horse, go back and study them and know them inside out. Seniors, know scientific names. In Horse Smarts, there's some Latin terms for prefixes and suffixes. Know those terms so that medications and diseases and all those will come easier for you so that you understand. If they say in hemoglobin, it's blood. Sometimes those questions like that will be in the question. So if you know those scientific terms, you know which way the question is going to go, whether it's penicillins or antibiotics or anything else, whether it's bacterial or not, or things like that. Jake, am I missing anything?
That was there's also I have the horse industry handbook. That's
Right.
more of general industry knowledge. Horse Smarts is definitely the more it's the more engaging text, and there are little activities sprinkled out so that you can kind of reinforce your knowledge after reading the chapter. But yeah, definitely those texts, and I feel like Evans, at least for seniors, Evans, the third edition, is making a big appearance at nationals, increasingly over the years. So that's what I think is and it's the most recent one that they look to.
For juniors, Horse Smarts is probably the main source of questions, just because it's a little easier, and it's a little easier studying guide, and it's a little easier to comprehend. The horse is more technical, especially with the anatomy and physiology and the breeding sections in that book. And so those senior questions are going to be drawn out of that area. Maybe not necessarily at states all the time, but definitely at nationals. And in the horse industry handbook, the chapters on ecosystems and topography and barns and venting of barns and how to build them and things like that, those sections in there, those are used a lot out of that book. Some of the other chapters in those books kind of repeat themselves in Horse Smarts a little bit, and it is a little more technical, but it's written more for the actual stable management type to begin with. So that's where that's coming from. The dictionaries all over the place, easy questions, hard questions out of there. The anatomy coloring book is a good resource on how, teeth and bones and joints, things like that. That's because it's pictured. You can actually have a good look for the explanation of them. And also the for your novice, it's definitely Jeannie's book of the horse science and some horse smarts, but more the horse science book from Jeannie's Griffiths that is used in that division. All of those are in the rule book, and Jessica is going to put a link to it so you guys can find the rules and read the rules. Read them so you know what points are what, whether it's +1, -1, +2, -1, or a bonus. If your team gets a bonus wrong, it is not points taken away. If you get a 1 and 1 or a open question wrong, it is -1. If you don't answer at all, it's -2. So have a go word to go to. What's your go word, Jake?
I've never had to use one, but I'm pretty sure mine was Chewbacca.
Hey, Lauren, what was yours?
I had nasal organ. That one's I think. Yeah.
Some of them are really funny and outrageous, and some of them I've heard over the years is like, and the moderator goes, "Wow, okay." It's usually some parasite or something. But yeah, that's Lauren. Is there anything you want to add to how to study, how to do any of those types of things?
Miss Anne,
Huh?
I think I have one of the books you mentioned.
Good. Read
I
it.
can do it right now. It's this one, I think, the horse anatomy.
I don't know if that's it. The one that they use is from Kaner.
Oh,
Kaner is the author of it.
this is the one then. It is John Dween.
So,
I have it right here actually.
the reason, yep, that's the horse anatomy one by Kaner, Kainer.
I have the wrong one then, but that's okay.
No, that's fine. The only thing is if they have terms in that one that are not used in other books, then that would not be a question. It would be the reason why. Okay, let me go back. The reason why they stick to specific resources is so that everybody is on the same page as far as terminology goes. Because you can have 3 different anatomy books and they will call fetlock joints a different name. And some books just call them P1, P2. They're pastern joints, P1, P2, and P3. That's all they call them. They do not give them upper and lower and coffin bone. They don't give them those names. They just give them P1, P2, P3, things like that. That's why they stick to those specific resources for everybody in the country to study from. That's every kid that's doing 4-H horse bowl. Those are the resources that they use from all over the country. So we're all on the same page. And at nationals, that's the only books that the questions are drawn from are those books. So,
And that's what I
okay.
looked at it. It doesn't really have any information about it.
So,
Now that I
yep.
looked through it.
So, but it's a good place to start. So, Abby, are you a novice or a junior?
I don't actually know. I haven't been to horse school before, so.
Okay, so you would be a novice. So that would be a great book for you to start with. Okay.
Okay.
And your get Jeannie's little book of equine science by Jeannie Griffiths. That's another great little book to start with. And I believe you can get that book through the American Youth Horse Council. So, all right.
I also emailed the rule book out to everybody. And in the rule book, you'll see the resources and the links to go directly to a place to purchase the rule books. Or not the rule books, the resources.
Some of those resources are very pricey. That's why every county has a copy of them. So if you are serious about horse bowl, go to your county educator and ask to borrow those books. And probably they are out right now. I'm sure that everybody is studying from them. That's awesome. Hopefully they hand them out for everybody to study. That's what they are there for. I have a couple extra copies that are always handed out to my national kids that don't have their own copy before they go to nationals. So that's where I have one extra copy of Horse Smarts, and that's where that one goes all the time. It's like, so, okay. Who has questions that they need answered, to get started? And I'm sure you're practicing for your regional events. I don't think, has anybody had their regional event yet?
We have some no's in the chat box.
Okay. Do you know when your regional event is? So that have your educator and your coaches let you know who the regional event is?
No.
Is there questions you have for me regarding horse bowl?
I don't.
So is horse bowl a competition you do with hippology?
Some, they're two separate competitions,
Okay.
but a lot of at regionals, they have them on the same day. Like most of the time, horse bowl's in the morning and hippology is in the afternoon. It's studying it's studying the same material though.
So is horse bowl something you do for hippology?
You can.
Oh, okay.
It's studying all the same information.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Horse bowl and hippology use the same resources. So if you're studying one, you are also studying for the other and vice versa. Because
you're kind of like doing both. So if you wanted to do both, it would be like almost the same.
You betcha. Yep.
Okay.
but they are two separate competitions. Yes.
You're gonna say bye to Harper?
So, any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you guys ever have any questions that you need answers to regarding horse bowl, contact myself and or Jessica. And I know her phone number's out there. Jess, can you make sure my phone number's out there too, and my email? And then people can get a hold of me if they have specific questions about something.
I can do that. Yes.
Yeah. And that way, I'm not unapproachable. I just need to know if somebody's got difficulty in any way and I can help out. Just give a holler. Send me an email. Send me a text. It doesn't matter. I am available most of the time. I live on a farm, so I don't have a 9-to-5 job. So it's I'm usually available. If not, I'll definitely get back to you. So it's not a problem. Ways that your meetings where you're having practice meetings on horse, whether it's hippology or horse bowl, games to play, Jeopardy, bingo. Bingo is a fun one. Play bingo, where you have to answer a question to get your spot in the bingo. Practicing resources, practice with the buzzers, so that you know how to use the buzzers before you get to your regional competitions. Have one of your practices with your coach be with buzzers. Yeah.
Buzzers. So, do you have to press the buzzer to answer the question?
Yes. You can't blurt it out. The moderator, okay, this is how it works. The moderator reads the question. You press your buzzer. These are all the ones we use at States are pistol grip. So you press down your buzzer and the moderator will recognize you. If your light goes off first, will recognize you, then you answer the question. If you speak out of turn, you lose points. You have to wait for the moderator to recognize you. Okay?
So that is for horse bowl.
For horse bowl.
You have to hit a buzzer. Okay, got it.
Yep. Buzzers are for horse bowl.
Got it.
Hippology is many different
it's multiple different,
Yeah,
I
it's
looked about
multiple.
that. I just didn't know if that was one of the parts.
Nope. Horse bowl is totally just buzzer competition. That is horse bowl. You play many rounds. You'll have at least 3 rounds.
So kind of like Jeopardy?
Yep. Very similar to Jeopardy.
Got it.
Except you give the answer instead of the question. That's all. So, but it doesn't hurt to do it that way either. That's a great way to study. It's just like Jeopardy. Somebody gives you the answer and you have to come up with the question. So it's a great way to study. So that's what's fun about playing Jeopardy in your practices, where they give you the answer, you give them the question as your answer, and that way you know whether you know the material or not. Practice questions, where to find them. There's a lot out there. If you Google horse bowl question, 4-H horse bowl questions, many sites come up. The ones that you can totally depend on to be accurate is North Carolina State and Tennessee and Georgia. Those 3 are definitely sites that actually use the resources that are the national resources. There's lots out there, and they're just fun to have more questions to answer. The University of Idaho has over 400 pages of horse bowl questions, but not all of them are resourced. So you just have to be careful with that, okay? But knowledge is knowledge. And the more you do it, the more you practice it, and you would know the right from wrong, as far as what terminology is used. That comes with time. That comes with the more horse bowl you practice and the more you read your resources. Am I missing anything, guys? I don't think I am. I think make flashcards, make little notebooks like Jake did. He always had a little notebook in his pocket to write down those questions. Oh, I never heard that one. He wrote it down. And so he wouldn't forget it that way. And he went back and studied those. Purdue University, North Carolina University, Quizlet, just / horse bowl, and a bunch of stuff comes up on there. And those are timed, so that sometimes that's even fun to do a timed event. Anything else? All right.
I'm good.
The next time we meet, we're going to have practice. Some of my kids that have gone to nationals are going to be online, and they're going to be reading questions for you guys to practice and have and answer. That's the last week in February, and that it's probably right before you guys start your regional competitions. So that is what's going to happen the next time we meet. So if there's no more questions on how to play the game, and it's not impossible, guys. Lauren did it in 1 year as a brand new horse kid in the program. Because she was old enough, she had to play as a senior, and look what she did. So it is not impossible to you say that's a goal you'll never reach. It's reachable. So, okay. Well, Jess, if there's no more questions, I guess we're tidying up just a few minutes early.
Okay. And I did put Anne's email in the chat box. But I will send out Anne's email with the recording as well and her contact information. The rule book has been sent out already. And I've had a few requests for some more links for this week's recording when I send the email. So I will put those in there as well. And I'm hoping to get that out by Wednesday if technology will work with me.
Sound like my house.
Jake and Lauren, thank you for joining Anne tonight.
Yep, I so appreciate it. Study hard, Jake.
And Lauren, now we know an area that we're gonna eventually push you into public speaking.
Oh.
So how many of you went to the judging clinic this past weekend? Jessica, you got yourself sick, Jessica.
I couldn't.
There was
Lauren, did you go?
Yeah, I went.
And what'd you think?
I thought it was fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And you learned some stuff?
Yeah.